God help me make the sacrifices necessary for myself, for you, and for everyone else. May God help all of us. So let me share this with my friends. So let's get straight into it. Josefsky here, coming in from Santo Domingo, just walking from Ciudad Nueva into the old town on the old rock and roll Samsung here. So yeah, the streaming isn't fantastic quality, but as I'm overseas, this is a good strategy for guys. I'll get into the cold approach stuff in a minute. A good tactic when you're out overseas is get yourself a second, maybe even a third phone, and just have like a 300 quid Samsung that you take out with you. You put the local SIM card in, and ultimately if it gets robbed or you lose it or you break it, it's not the end of the world. I had this in Brazil a few years ago where I got robbed on the first week. Just pickpocketed, nothing drastic, totally my own fault. I was out in the mall doing videos, and as I was getting into an Uber, a kid pickpocketed me. I didn't notice till I got back, and I felt the kids around me. And I lost access to all my bank accounts, my crypto, even my fucking email. I couldn't even book a flight out of there. It was a bad time. So ever since then I realised you need realistically you need 3 phones. You need 3 phones. But like two is probably like a good starter kit, but you need a second phone. Your primary phone is purely a verification device for your bank stuff. So there you go. So I'm on the Samsung, but we are walking through a beautiful city nonetheless around this Christmas period. And I'm coming in every day until the end of the year. Whether I have the energy to or not, it doesn't matter. Done a lot of stuff today already, but we've got to get out. I said I was going to do it, I'm going to do it. Which is why, if I say I'm going to do something, I don't show up one day, you can't trust me, can you? So, yeah, we will be coming through until the end of the year, for sure. So the title of this live is, if you're a single man over 40, use your age advantage in real life. Use your age advantage in real life. So on this channel I discuss all things cold approach, dating and relationship related. Really what I'm talking about is education to take you from a position of not knowing what is going on at all with dating, with women, with approach, to actually feeling calm, confident, and you've got this covered. Okay, you do not need to be perfect. You don't need to be a psychological genius. You just need to know the right principles. So that's why if you look back over the catalogue of my videos, although some of them seem a little bit rambly, I've been finding my feet on this channel in terms of it's just the first time I've made content like this before. Actually a very private person in general, but I think this stuff is important. If you look through the catalogue of the channel, you will get a lot of, it's not wisdom, it's absolutely concrete advice and concrete material that talks about things like leadership, female sexuality, male-female dynamics, how to pick the right woman. It's all there. All the principles are in these videos. So if you just come onto this live, go through some of my old videos. If you get bored of the, if you don't like the sometimes long-winded style, just put the transcript through ChatGPT and get it to give you a summary. Because it's education you need. It's education you need. And so yeah, if you're over 40, you're a guy in your 40s or 50s, age is an advantage. It is an advantage in real life. It is not an advantage online. And even if you're in your 30s, online is very much against you. I mean, online is obviously, the dating apps. It's very much against you in most places, because the young, attractive women, most of them are going to put as their upper age limit a guy who's 5 years older than them. So if she's 25, So she's 23 rather, she'll probably put 28 maximum, or maybe 30 if she's quite open-minded. There's no way she's going up to 40. Women by their nature are more selective. They like to think of themselves as more selective as well, so they put all these filters and criteria in, which actually have nothing to do with what they really want. Very little to do with what they really want. You know, they have this fantasy guy who's the 27-year-old Giga Chad, who's got all of these qualities. And that's also cultural as well. So guys get very worried about their height. It's a very sad thing that I've seen creeping in recent years. I've even had a guy who was say like, oh, but you're insecure about your height, aren't you? I'm like, no, my friend, I am not you. I'm a 40-year-old millennial. I'm not some brainwashed fucking Gen Z who's riddled with insecurity. The height thing is unfortunate. It's a byproduct of American culture. Julius Evola talks about this. It's like everything in the US has to be bigger because that's the kind of primitive American brain. Sorry for insulting the USA. Sorry, I do actually think it's a cool country, but he insults this. He has a go at this aspect of their culture, and maybe it's the sports as well. You're considered an athlete if you're 7 foot tall. Whereas in Europe, if you're 7 foot tall and you're playing soccer, you'd just be a freak. You'd just be like a strange oddity. Because the average height of soccer players is anything between 5'8" and 6 foot. You know, just normal height. So, you know, basketball, NFL, ice hockey, they're all massive. They're sports where you have to be massive. Whereas like the popular sports in Europe, specifically football, boxing, tennis. Obviously boxing, you've got many different sizes of guys from like 5'2". Football is around about 5'8" to about 6'1". 6'2" is fairly big for a footballer. So guys have got this height stuff in their head. It's really making guys super paranoid. They're paranoid about their jaw size. They're paranoid about their earnings. They're just paranoid about so many things. And actually, what most women respond to is an emotional experience. Not all, some of them are like quite calculating, but mostly they respond to is an emotional experience. Part of it is how you look, but there's a big difference between being well presented and a cool guy. Once you start shagging the girl, and you're a well presented, cool, confident guy, she'll find a dozen reasons that she likes you. And I've slept with girls who said, yeah, I was with this guy who was like, he was kind of, this is a really cool girl I'm thinking of now, she's a doctor. And we talked just normally about sex, and she was like, yeah, I remember there was a guy I slept with, I met in Salsa, he was pretty chubby, he was pretty overweight, but I liked it. It was like something to feel, you know, like it felt nice. And, you know, we're all here like especially me, like I'm a giro basically, and so you know, but she obviously liked the guy and she liked the experience, so she takes the positive from that experience. And so just understand female psychology. It's actually more emotional than the male psychology can sometimes be. We're fixated more on the looks, but female psychology, of course, it's a factor, but yeah, it's mostly emotional. I'll tell a self-aggrandizing story here, just to illustrate that. I've been with girls like 10 years ago, 11. Well, 8 years ago, I was about 32, and there's a girl I'm dating who, she's a young thing. She's I think 19, 20, attractive girl, and even actually this was a real peak period for me. 31, 32, it's an aggressive period for a lot of men. And so I was out a lot, I was a promoter then. And there was two girls, one of them was half African, half Portuguese, and the other one was fully African. And the half African one, she was like the belle of the ball. She was this incredible dancer. Everybody fancied her. She was almost seen as like unattainable or something. I don't really know why, but she was the belle of the ball. And she ended up she ended up marrying and having kids with a guy he's practically a male model, right? He was also a bartender as well, and I'm not sure I don't know if he knows this or not. He wouldn't care at all, because he's not insecure at all. But that particular girl, just through being the fun, relaxed, cool guy, who was a good dancer, I had a serious option to get with her. She practically threw herself at me. She was sending me messages with people shagging and stuff like that in, and then there was a bit of a pre-selection thing going on as well in that club. So if I went out, I would meet a girlfriend I was probably gonna sleep with that night, and then there would be another girl as well who'd be around, and then there would be newbies, and they would see me dealing with all these girls, and it was like, it's obviously the guy, isn't it? There's a pre-selection thing going on, and yeah, I essentially had first dibs on this girl who was the belle of the ball, and it never happened. Just literally, I had too many other things going on. I had too many other girls going on. Self-aggrandizing. It's not about me, but just take the principle. The reason I speak with some confidence is because I've actually lived this stuff. And I'm 5'7", dude. Yeah, I have a normal job. I'm not a fucking male model. Yeah, and the guy who ended up marrying this girl, I'm not saying he was second choice, but there was a point where he would have been second choice at some point. And you would look at him and be like, no, that is an actual model. And he's fucking cool as well. So because the emotional experience, I had good dance chemistry with this girl, and just a lot of good sexual / piss-taking vibes. And then also a bit of the old pre-selection thing going on, which got her a little bit competitive. Jesus Christ, look at the girls there. Got her a little bit competitive. So that's just an illustration that Giga Chad will not always triumph. If you're like a decent guy, but you're sparking these different things in the girl, there are other things going on for the woman. And then I remember another girl I was dating at the time there, I had a few going on, a fully African girl. She'd only been with guys she was about my height, but she'd only been with guys who were like 6'4" and above. And did I feel inferior? No, I didn't feel anything of the sort. I just found I didn't care at all, because I hadn't been exposed to this garbage. And I remember her, she actually said something to me inadvertently, which was, God, this is drama of my past personal life. Sorry to be indulgent, but I was seeing another girl which she found out about, and that other girl had I'm not going to tell that whole story, but essentially what this girl said to me was, in reference to some other guys, was like, she said it almost accidentally. She's like, you are so much more man than him. And she's talking about a guy who essentially looks like the Giga Chad, right? But those are the words she used as well. And she was being genuine. She wasn't, she almost said it accidentally, like off the cuff, right? So why is that? Well, it's because, why would she think that? Well, it's because I'm a more well-rounded package. I'm not just relying on my looks almost like a chick. When I met her, I approached her in the club, reapproached in the club, and I was promoting as well. And my approach wasn't the best. It doesn't matter, I still did the fundamental approach. I still did all the right stuff with her. And then when she was out with me, I was just calm and enjoyed her beauty. And I don't know, she saw the overall package, and like, this is actually a good guy. He's running this club promotion. He's got a business going on. He likes to travel. He's into culture as well. And I don't know, whatever else it was she saw in me as well. So Yeah. So you could be like, look at Tom Cruise. Does anyone think like Peter Crouch, the football player, like the 7-foot football player, or even like Shaquille O'Neal? Does anyone think Shaquille O'Neal or Peter Crouch are like more the man than Tom Cruise? They're literally like fucking, like, he's like 5'5" and he's like literally doing his own stunts, flying out of fucking planes. It's almost absurd. What? He's like, still too many cars down that way. Yeah, it's almost absurd, right? And he's seen as like viscerally attractive by a ton of women. I remember like school teachers and stuff used to crush on Tom Cruise, my old teachers. So there's a lot of behavioural things as well that women are looking at. There's a lot of psychology, there's a lot of emotion there. And that's really what gets them going. The physicality, it might be, a bit of an exciting thing. But I don't know, I'll give you a third example of a girl I was getting to know this summer. And after we parted ways, we stayed in touch. And she would just casually tell me about what was going on in her personal life. And it was like, yeah, I went to this thing and I pulled this guy. And I know she's being genuine because she was communicating with me and she's like, it's weird because I didn't feel anything, I felt no emotional connection to this guy at all. I just felt like I was kissing like a lump of lead, right? And this is like some, big Giga Chad type of guy. Obviously I look good, but I'm not like 7 foot tall, right? So ultimately it's the emotional experience. It's so visceral in a woman's mind, okay? They buy into all of this stuff. You want to be a reality poet. This is what you want to do. And this is just so exciting, especially for the younger girls, the younger, hotter girls. So if you're in your 40s, you can actually fulfill this seductive image of the older, experienced guy. That's the image you actually want to get into. It's the older experience. You don't want to have too much of it's a balance, isn't it? You want to come across like an old man, but you want that seasoned, relaxed type of vibe of an older guy who accepts his own sexuality, his own sexual desires, but also understands her sexuality as well. It's one of the biggest advantages older guys have over younger guys is just less emotional, just understands the girl's sexuality a bit more, understand really deep down they're just fucking nymphos, which sometimes younger guys don't really get, or they don't really get the full extent of it. Use that wisdom. Hopefully you've got a nice decent place for yourself as well. When you bring her back, get it seductive, I hope you should have your moves that you pull on her, and if they're not effective, learn about that as well. But yeah, your age is really a superpower. Your age really is a superpower. And I would say for any girl over 28, even in the West, you can definitely be 50 and a 28. If you're a decent 50-year-old, you can get a decent 28-year-old. And you for sure can get a decent 30-year-old. I would actually say like a 35-year-old woman, I'd actually say she's actually probably doing quite well to, Jesus Christ. She's doing quite well to get a decent 50-year-old, in my opinion. Because you might be able to get even a little bit younger. And if the woman's over 40, if you're not interested in children, and you're dating women in their 40s, I mean, if you're 50, for fuck's sakes, you're cruising. You're absolutely on cruise control. If you're decently put together, you are a more valuable commodity than, I think I cold approached her. You're a more valuable commodity than she is. But you gotta be the right 50-year-old and the right 40-year-old. So yeah, this channel is not for everybody. Well, everybody can watch, but my practice is not for everybody. It's got to be the right kind of guy. You do have to have something about yourself. My God, the noise. What is going on here? You do have to have something about yourself. So yeah, a lot of guys are sitting on a winning lottery ticket in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they don't even realize it. Or they're sitting on a potentially winning lottery ticket. And sometimes it's just tweaking a few things, tweaking the approach. It's a multifaceted thing, tweaking your mindset, understanding you may need to be more educated about things like female nature and so on. Problem is a lot of that education is bullshit online. That's the other problem. I would strongly recommend, aside from watching this channel, don't just take my word for it. Pick the brains of guys you know who've really had good success with the ladies over the years. If you can find some of them, pick their brains, really listen to them, because that's where I got a lot of my education, and also seeing guys as well. The best thing is to literally watch guys live in the flesh. That's how I learned a lot of my nighttime, just machismo. What I would say is just like delivering myself a little bit more, being a bit more out there. I learned a lot of that from other guys, and I just kind of absorbed it more than anything else, just got into the flow of it. And then, ¿y esa loca? ¿Cómo estás? Hey, ¿te vas de bicicleta? Yo estoy en un live, mira. Ay, Dios mío,
Vamos a montar bicicleta.
Ah, chulo. Yo estoy haciendo un live ahora mismo.
Ay, qué live, mira.
Yo estoy trabajando.
Yo también estaba trabajando. Ya vendí los jabones.
¿Y qué tal? ¿Ganaste mucho?
No tanto. Hola. Mañana es que
¿Cómo
vamos a
estás,
hacer.
niña? Me gusta tu vestido, muy chulo.
Ay, el mío no.
¿Es de tu madre?
No, y el mío no te gusta.
Yo voy trabajando, aproveche. Cuidado, loca. Crazy soap selling girl. Happy balls, mate. Good to see you on. I'm just talking about 40s and 50s guys, how in real life can be a great advantage to you. So the more you literally step into your age, the better. Particularly in your sense of self-confidence. That really is something that comes with age. Sense of self-confidence, you should do anyway. A sense of relaxation, sense of stability, feet on the ground, and just experience as well. But online, unfortunately, you will just be iced out online. You do have, in my opinion, basically no chance on an app, purely because the noisiest country in the world is the Dominican Republic. Purely because of the age selection stuff. You do have no chance online. So even if you don't want to learn cold approach, daytime approach, which I kind of understand if you think it's a bit much, I would advocate going down go down the social circle route. Really pay attention to your social circle. Get into social circles with some young, attractive women. And just basically by any means necessary, whatever you have to do to get yourself around, do that. Get yourself out, even if it's to the cafes. Start to mingle a little bit, and then start to ask the girls out. This is why salsa and dance and stuff is a fucking goldmine for guys, especially guys in their 40s and 50s. I've seen a lot get married off in their 40s to like hot 27-year-olds. I'm picturing a few of the guys I know right now who've got great deals for themselves, fucking great deals, who are in their late 40s with a girl who was like, a lot of foreign girls in the UK are into salsa. So like a girl who's frankly more premium than a lot of the British girls and is more open to dating an older man. So I've seen some guys get some tremendous deals, man, in their 40s. Like really good. And like long-term stuff as well, where they have children as well. Several. And yeah, that's a lot of it, is the emotional experience they provide for the girl. There's a sense of excitement, but there's also a sense of security. Is that balance between the two. If you're just pure excitement and craziness, yeah, maybe for some girls in their late teens, early 20s, that's kind of fun. You know, the sociopathic vibe. I actually used to lean into that. But for a girl in their late 20s, to be honest, they are kind of over it by that point, in my opinion. A lot of them anyway. It's like, so you want to play that balance between exciting and fun, but then also there's you're that rock, you're that stability. You've got a castle by this point, and you can bring the girl into your castle, and she can settle, and then you have your spawn. We respawn the next generation. So yeah, this is what it's all about, boys. It's about respawning. It's about respawning for the next generation. That is what we're doing here. Ultimately, that is the purpose of all of this. We start off just building up some confidence. We get you a bit more clued into dynamics. We get you balls maxing in the old cold approach. We start to look at your fashion. We take a look at your physicality. You know, you don't need to be a fucking giga chad. You need to get on steroids. But let's make your life as easy as possible. You know, look at the old wing bro here. I'm in pretty good shape. I'm literally in as good shape as I can most feasibly be without it starting to really take over my life in a negative way. Babes here. And that only takes me about 2-3 hours, probably 2 hours of actual workout per week. That's about it. And if I include going to the gym and back, it's about 3 hours out of my week to be a 40-year-old who I've been mistaken for a 28-year-old several times this week. So it's just application at the end of the day. It's just application. There's guys who are fit who look like almost late 30s just because they're in good shape. So you don't have to be a Greek god, but just keep yourself in good nick. I'm also experimenting this year with an updated Instagram. So I've updated a couple of weeks ago, just as a landing page which is a little bit more respectable. The first one was truly like a big red flag, my previous Instagram. Now it's not good, but it's better. It's better than it was. At least the photos look individually decent, even though they're a bit sporadic. Joe Blake Lisbon, by the way, if you want to follow me. The more followers I get, the better. It makes me look cooler. So yeah, get into that. But I will basically be doing some photo shoots and things of that nature this year, just to update that. And I'll experiment with using that in conjunction with cold approach. So I'm not relying on DMs or I won't DM any girls. I'm not going to look for girls online. I'm not going to be approaching online. That's not going to happen. It will just be a landing page for after the interaction. Because sometimes Instas are just a slightly easier close. And then if on top of that, and let's say the girl's in a group and you've spoken to her for 5 minutes, it depends on the girl and it depends on the group. In some cases, the friends will be like, take her WhatsApp. In other cases, maybe it's a bit more of a reserved group. They're shocked that you've even approached her. And sometimes giving the number, especially if the girl's like, she's quite young, she's a bit conscious of what other people are thinking of her, that just going for the WhatsApp in front of her 2 older friends or sisters or something, or her dad, it can be good or not good. I've got WhatsApps in front of a girl's mum like a few weeks ago, so you can still do it. But if you've got a solid landing page on the Insta, that actually will potentially act in your favour. I do think it has to be quite good though. I think professional photos, look stuff up online as well. There's guys advising on it online who've gone next level on it, and that's their primary form of attraction. You don't have to get to that level, especially not initially, but if you just get it reasonable, that can be an additional tool. It's an additional tool. Just like, for example, the dance floor for me, that's my closing tool, but it can also be an opening tool. I don't see it in that mechanical way. It's much more of a passion, it's more of an enjoyment, but it's an extra thing in my profile, in my overall arsenal. So I'm kind of got like multiple angles and multiple vectors. God, this is autistic language, isn't it? But multiple vectors of seduction. Right? I've got the bold approach. I've got at least a somewhat respectable Instagram now. I've got a decent physique, which I've just purely built in the gym. If I take the girl out, I can take her onto the dance floor, which is, you know, I mean, she's finished, to be honest, if I take her onto the dance floor. You know, some conversation skills, a little bit of the old game, the old classic game. I don't do too much of it, but decent international lifestyle. So I've got a lot of things in my favor, but that's just my profile. And what you want to do is just work your profile so that You're not just kind of if you think you just can be a freak with no friend, and I've also got a good social life. If you think you can be a freak with no friends, terrible fashion, terrible physique, terrible look, and just through the magic of cold approach, which you're probably shit at if you haven't had training, even though you probably don't know it, you're just going to get all the girls. That's not reality. That's not reality. You need to present, and I would be doing you a disservice as a guy making content on this if I just said, oh yeah, all you need is game, come train with me, doesn't matter how shit you are. No, that's not how it actually is going to work. It's not how it's going to work. You need to have a profile. You need to have a profile. And so, kind of a well-rounded profile, should we say. Some guys, like, they get very good at approach, and they get good look, and everything's firing, but actually deep down they're absolutely riddled with insecurities. They still don't understand male-female dynamics at all, very childish type of mentality. And they get found out very quickly. They might be able to shag a girl or two from approach, and it goes fast, just through sheer balls, but then they lose the girl afterwards because they are not the package. They are not the package, and they've got massive gaping holes in their psychology. Unfortunately, yeah, there's guys like that, and they lose the girl. And so what they've got to do is actually address those, look at some deeper stuff and start to address those issues as well. My service, I am not here to be your psychotherapist. I will coach you, I will train you. I will give you both positive and negative feedback. I give a lot of encouragement to guys, but I'm not here to be a psychotherapist. So if a guy is very poorly put together psychologically, honestly, I don't want to work with you, to be honest. You wouldn't be the right fit. The guy I want to work with out there is the guy who's really got his stuff together, is in his maybe 30s, 40s, 50s, and who's just looking around at the dating landscape, just kind of going, shit, I'm left out in the cold here. I feel I can do more, and I feel there's perhaps things I don't understand. I don't know how to do a cold approach. I think I could do it though. I've looked after the physique, I've looked after the clothes, and etc., etc. That's the guy I really want to work with. So if you're listening to this and you're out there and you're mystified about the current dating market, it would really be my service is set up for you, basically. Well put together professional guys, 40s, 50s, just actually bringing that experience to bear and bringing you into the world as this kind of seductive older guy, the romantic hero. A lot of women have an absolute fantasy of being fucked by older guys, like a lot of young women do as well. So you're going to be the guy that steps into that. But I need to see guys with some maturity. You don't have to be perfect. You can have some insecurities, especially about cold approach, because it's a thing that it's out there socially, so it's a thing that's going to provoke lots of... We don't like to go outside the social norms as humans. Alarm bells start going off in your mind when you start to go, is this normal? But I break you out of that, and you realize very quickly it's actually very normal. But the type of guy that I want is emotionally mature, has got their stuff together, and they just realize I need to make some adjustments. And I'm open to finding out what those adjustments are. And so just to give you just a bit of my, let's just say for example this week, so I'm 40. At the moment my profile is good, overall profile is good, my approach is solid, I look good, I've got a good physique, I'm well dressed, I can talk multiple languages, I'm out here in an exotic country where the women, by the way, are not easy. Contrary to popular belief, women in more conservative, women in less rich countries are usually more conservative. So they're actually often they're more interested in things like fidelity actually than a potentially faithful partner. Western girls, it doesn't really occur to them to begin with, but girls anyway. But so my profile out here is good. And what I'm able to do at 40, I'm going out on Christmas Day and I'm approaching girls who are, 20 years old, and I'm closing them. I think there's one I got on camera actually. I got the first part of it on camera with my glasses. and I don't know how many I closed this week, about 3 I think this week. I've tried the Insta close with those, and the new Insta profile is also working as well. So that's me. I'm 40 and I'm out here alone, which is not ideal, and I'm still able to generate lots of good options. I think in my roster, so to speak, right now, I don't like to talk in those terms, but girls who I've got in my life and who I'm messaging and in contact with, I've been in a kind of phase of recruiting, like trying to just finding the options this last month. I've got about 15 to 20 now who are all pretty much between 20 and 25. I don't think there's any one of them over 25, and as I say, I'm 40, and in multiple countries as well. So there you go, I'm showing off, but it's really, I don't need to go and run through all those girls. I don't have the time, you know, I've got other things going on, and you don't need to either, but it's nice to have the options. It's nice to have the options, and that's really what I'm looking to exercise. And maybe I don't meet up with any of them. Maybe I continue to go out approaching, or maybe I say, you know what, let me explore, let me date a few of these girls, let's see what happens. The point is, I have the options, and I'm living in actual abundance because I continue to put myself out there, and I continue to upgrade my overall profile. You know, so like the dance is taken care of, the look is taken care of, the approach is taken care of. Now I'm just starting to build that Insta landing page just to give me, you know, just a little bit more familiarity as I'm a traveler. It can be quite, girls don't have like any verification for you, so to speak, after just one approach. So some of them need that. Building your overall profile. If you're mature enough to do that, within a year, you can pretty much tick off everything within a year. You can improve your look, your dress sense within a month with some basic direction. You can improve your physique within probably a year to 6 months, 6 months to a year, depending on where you're at. If you're at a good starting point, all the better. You can improve your approach in 3 days, and you can get very, very good within a year. You can get more than good enough to be effective within a day. Within a day. Believe it or not. If you're wanting to, like, say, do what I've done this month, get 15, 20 to 25 year olds in a foreign country in a month in your phone book, I think that maybe you'll be good enough after 3 days, but you'll probably have to have some ongoing practice to do that. Consistency is what you get through the practice. It's the one-off girls, you can get them on your first approach, man. I've had students close very early. A couple close their first approach, and what will separate over time is whether you have ongoing options is your consistency. So a little bit more practice, you know, is also good, but it's not that much. You know, within a year, you can go from looking like a bit of a decrepit old man, a 45-year-old man, to fucking Antonio Banderas' cousin within 1 year. And it's mostly just, a lot of it's smoke and mirrors, you know, just like improving the fashion, improving design, improving the Instagram, getting your approach better, learning more about male-female dynamics, learning more about female sexuality, bringing more of your own sexuality to bear. Boys, all this can be achieved. And if you're 40, 50, if you've been like not doing well in this for like 20 years, what difference does 1 year make? What difference does 1 year make? What fucking difference does it make? Have a bit of patience, respect the game. I did my first cold approach when I was 15 years old. 15 years old. I think even a bit before that, but I remember my first session, as I would call it now. We didn't think of it as that. We were just teenagers getting let loose in an under-18s club. And I went with 3 mates, 3 lads, to Kingdom nightclub in Sheffield. It was an under-18s night, so you had to be under 18 to go. It was really cool. It was a good way to get kids to socialize at a young age, and it was an amazing chance to pull chicks when we were that age. I mean, it was like fucking dynamite, right? You can imagine all the teenage hormones and stuff going on. And we'd approach easily 20 girls in a night, if not more. And the way we would do it was, I'd get my friend to go over to the girl and say, hey, do you want to pull my mate? And he would point at me, and she'd either give me the nod or she'd say no. So you got to get used to getting a few no's as well. But you just keep going, right? You just keep going. There was those studs in there that would pull like 20 girls. And then, there'd always be a competition of who pulled the most. And then the attractive girls, they probably pull a lot of guys as well. But it was all basically just kissing, you know. It was like literally teenagers practicing kissing each other. I mean, how good is that? How good is that? Because it was a controlled environment. There was no alcohol, no drugs. And it was just music and just teenagers being teenagers. We just had like such a good fucking time. But we were approaching our asses off, right? I remember my mates getting their first kisses in those clubs as well. And I brokered the deal for them. And then I remember some girl coming over and being like, hey, will one of you pull my mate? She was like left out. And one of my friends was like, yeah, I will. He just stepped into the breach and that was his first kiss, yeah? So, yeah, you just get in your first like little nookie or whatever. You get your first girlfriend from there. And, you know, you start to move from there. Right, this is 25 years ago. Then I start going into the clubs when I'm in my late teens. Through my 20s, found it very weird to negotiate when I was in my late teens, early 20s. All the alcohol, way more aggressive environment, way more aggressive, and also like gangs and stuff there, and then fights, and then just being one of the younger guys, like the girls who were in your class at school, they're like 18, they're getting with like a 27-year-old. You're like, what the fuck is going on? You're just completely taken for a loop. And eventually learned to negotiate my way through clubs. By the time I hit my mid-20s, it took a long time. And it's not like this was a main focus of my life, but it was there in the background. You always have an eye on your personal life. And then in my late 20s, I had some big life-altering events, which made me question everything I've been doing up to that point. I've been purely focused on my profession and sport as well. I was like, you know, if I was an American, you'd say I was an all-American kind of guy. That was my thing, like studies, sport. That was what I was into. I would have been in the Letterman jacket for soccer. Didn't have to have them for soccer. And in my late 20s, I realized like shit, I've under-enjoyed life because I've been so focused on achievement. I've been very frustrated for about 7 or 8 years now. And I want to index on the social life and the romantic life. So I actually did put it as my top priority, actually, from my late 20s until about 30 something, about 30. And then I was on a bit more cruise control, 30 to 34, I had my club promotion, 34 started, until now, 6 years, started living the international lifestyle, traveling all over the world because I've got a remote business. And then dating is like, you know, just doing different things there. It's not always been easy, you know, then got on the apps and stuff in the pandemic, that was all a bit fucking weird. But I've got a lot of experience now. I've got 25 years of experience. 25 years. It's a quarter of a century. Like, and I've always talked tactics and principles with friends. I've done a lot, and I've got friends who've done even more than me, who I consult with all the time. Who like they're not online because they're just, you know, they've got like they're in like working in like big corporations and stuff, and no one fucking knows the depths that their lives go to, some of these guys, even still to this day. So I've got a massive pool of reference, and that's what I give a taste of on this channel. And the last few years I've been practicing daytime approach, which has been the final, the coup de grace, basically, the cherry on top of everything I've been building. Cold approach has just been the last thing in there, daytime approach. So I was just in a few hours ago just talking to a friend who is similar age to me. He's a bit younger, and he's had a lot of success online. He's kind of cultivated that, and he's very good at managing many relationships all at the same time, up to 10 relationships all at the same time. He's very skilled at that. So he lives this like outrageous personal life and got abundant options. He does do some daytime as well, but he's mostly focused on the apps. And I was just telling him about some of my approaches, and like a girl I closed a few weeks ago, I told him about it. I was like, yeah, there was a whole line in Starbucks. Literally, this girl was absolute smoke show, and I consider it my God-given right to approach her. So I go over, a whole fucking line is watching me, and then all the people sat next to her watching me. It's like being in a coliseum being watched. And then I do the approach, it goes well, get the close, and when I see her pictures, I'm like, my God, she puts a lot of WhatsApp photos. Like, my God, she was even fitter than I thought. Like, I didn't realize she had that body underneath as well. She went to the beach the other day. And I'm able to, it's like 23-year-old, I'm able to close girls like that in front of big audiences in cities that I've never been to before. And it's purely through experience, all the cold approach I've done, being an older guy, having that gravitas, that authority. And even then, I still felt a little bit of a flutter, and I was able to, I'm just used to it. And you'll be the same. You'll be the same. If you're the right guy, it's okay to feel a little bit of a flutter. That's absolutely fine. Even the most experienced guys still feel it. It's just part and parcel. Some days you don't feel anything. Some days you do. It's almost, I regret to say this, sometimes you need to feel a little bit. Sometimes you do. Today I went out and did a session, and I was just doing almost like a drill, where I went to a mall with 5 floors, and I approached on all the floors. I didn't really feel anything, and consequently, I almost just did it for the sake of it. But I still got the job done. It was just a practice, maybe something to show students. But I think if I'd actually been a bit more energetic, I'd felt a bit more excited, I think I might have done a bit more. My last approach, I've been walking around for ages to do one on the ground floor. So I went 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. That all went smoothly. Well, it's never smooth, by the way. There's always some chaos. But it went relatively smoothly. And then on the ground floor, I just couldn't find anyone. And I'd walked around for about 40 minutes, finally found an absolute smoke show to approach. Beautiful girl. And I was so tired. I was genuinely like, the set really opened up, and she was like looking at me like she was giving me the eyes. She was Dominican, but she lived in America, so she spoke English. And it was like quite a sensual set that started up. And genuinely, my main thought was, oh fucking hell, I was hoping you were going to reject me so I could just fuck off home. I'm like, right, now this is going well, I'm now going to have to stay in this set. Because I've been walking around for so long, I just wanted to basically go home, but I set myself the challenge. That's a side quest, really. That's a side quest. I've done so many things like that in so many countries. I'm kind of numb to it. I think today, if I hadn't been quite as numb, if I'd been a bit more excited, it would have been a bit more fun. But yeah, just so you know, boys, I am still out there. I am still out there in the fields. Quite a lot this last few months. I think I'm one of the most consistent guys I know in this, and I know some very consistent guys, but I'm right up there at the very top of that tree. There's not many who are more consistent than me, and I'll be reducing that in the new year. Because I've realised now at my stage, volume is not as important as quality. So I may even cap myself to 5 approaches a week even. I don't know, I'm considering different options for the new year. And just do less, but do more with less. I've also got fucking girls I need to see as well, so yeah, I sound like I'm showing off, but I'm just giving myself as a case study as a 40-year-old man. It's not showing off, to be honest. It's really not. It's objectively true. If it was showing off, would be exaggerating what I'm actually doing. And I might even be playing it down, to be honest. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you the reality of what it is. There's no reason, realistically, why you couldn't do the same thing if you're a well put together in your 40s and guy in your 40s and 50s. My arm is starting to go numb. So, yeah, we've got not too many viewers today, but that's all right. That's all right. God is my witness, and that's the main thing. I said I was going to do a live every day in December. I'm doing a live every day in December. If not for no other reason than just to show anybody tuning in, if I say I'm going to do something, you know that I will do it. That is the type of person that I am. Even if it's inconvenient and, taking time out of my day to do it. Full disclosure, I did not feel like doing this live when I started. But I made the commitment to do it, and I will do it until the end of the month. And that's, that's just a small indicator. Like, for example, the fact I'm in shape. Let me get in the light so I can show you my rippling biceps. But the fact I'm in decent shape, as a 40-year-old man, what does that tell you? It tells you as a viewer that you can't fake that at 40. I don't take any TRT. and I'm not naturally some massive built guy. You cannot fake that. That can't happen through anything other than consistent application. The fact I've got a business and you can physically see me traveling around the entire world. On my channel, you can see me in Brazil, Dominican, Serbia, UK, North Macedonia, Bosnia, Turkey, all these different countries. Again, that can't be faked. Yeah, it can't be, you know, I don't live on fresh air, yeah? You see, I'm not sleeping in the streets in these places because I've, to a decent extent, solved the online work thing. Again, that it kind of speaks for itself. Like, social media is a place of obviously many frauds and fakes. Some of the stuff I display to you guys, it can't be faked. The infields that I display to you, they're not AI, you know. You've got many more to come this year. That will be the focus of the new year. It'll be much like a slower pace of content. I've got 400 fucking videos out. So you can definitely binge the principles, but it's going to be much higher. Well, it's steadily going to increase in quality and there'll be more infields as well. But my point, like the salsa and stuff, you can see me dancing kizomba. I mean, how much proof of work, you know, is necessary? Hopefully, I mean, I'm not going to sell myself, but that's all proof of work, right? All of, like, you can't learn kizomba in a week. You can't learn it in a day. That level, you need to practice 3-4 times a week for at least 3 years to get to that level that I'm at. Just so you know where it is. It's a very sophisticated dance. There's many different rhythms and syncopations to it, and the lead it's just very sophisticated. Unless if you grew up with it in Angola, then okay, you've been learning it since you were a kid. It might have taken you a couple of years, but if you're Western or you're from anywhere else, you're going to have to learn it. And I even know Angolan guys who they learned it in the UK. It took them a few years to get good because it's not an easy dance, to be honest with you. That would have been a bit of a coercive one. She's fit, but she's against the wall there. So it's all proof of work, essentially. That's kind of what I'm saying on this channel. You know, the guy that I trained who lost his virginity, other guys that I've trained, it's all proof of work. That stuff can't be faked, you know. And really, the end game here is just to improve guys' lives, to give you guys the options that you deserve. There's a lot of guys out there who just, it feels like the sexual marketplace is so unbalanced because the qualities that women have primarily in the looks department are so obvious, they're so front end, they're so celebrated in modern culture, especially when women are younger and even older. It's getting bizarre. You see 6-year-olds on Instagram. All of those qualities on the front end are just so celebrated universally in every culture. And men's qualities, which are every bit as potent and powerful, they've been hidden away and marginalized. And it's there's a real asymmetry in the dating culture. And it's not about the war on women or anything like that. It's actually just bringing guys up to their right level. You should be on this level as well. And the approach itself, the ballsy, confident approach itself, is for sure one of the things that will put you on the level. That was a nice group there. I think I've seen them around. White Dominican girls. And so it's really, just to round this off, this really is about you, my friends. You know, my situation is good. To be really honest, like, I'm approaching girls nowadays, honestly, as like vanity metrics. It's something I need to address for myself. I've got it in my head that I need to get with the Miss Universe. I need her as my girlfriend for this channel. Fucking ridiculous. But I've approached a Miss Universe. I've probably talked about it loads of times. Approached like Miss this, Miss that, and you know the honest truth, the honest fucking truth. The girls I like the most is just a fucking big ass barrio girl, big tit barrio girl, or it's a curvy barrio chick. My absolute favourites are the girls from the barrios who are like, they're the posh girl in the barrio. They hold themselves separate from the rest of the girls. They're not the trashy girls, but they've got the amazing body, they've got the down-to-earth type of mentality, but they actually hold themselves a little bit separate as well. That is my favorite. Those are always my girlfriends, those girls. So I've got to have a bit of word with myself. Am I becoming a bit too, am I getting influenced by this online culture to want to have a girl who just like, a girl can physically look amazing on photos, and then you actually get with them and it's like, you're kind of skinny and you don't really have any muscle at all. You don't really have any tits. Yeah, they look fantastic in photos. But, so am I getting influenced by that? I've got to have a word maybe. But my dating life basically is honestly, has it ever been, it's probably never been bad. I've been about the same as this 8 years ago when I was a club promoter. When I was, and maybe 12 years ago when I had my rat pack, a wolf pack. I've been about the same as this. This is one of the 3 peaks of my life, and I'm fucking 40. And honestly, you know what? Maybe if I looked at the girls' photos from back then compared to now, I'd probably say now is even better, to be honest. But cold approach it's probably a less fun way of doing it than just partying. It's definitely a less fun way of doing it. But my life is sorted, guys. My life is sorted. So this really is about you, my friend. This really is about you. And maybe you're afraid, like culturally, you're stepping outside that comfort zone. You think, oh, it's all right for you, wing bro. You're going around Latin America, blah blah blah. But dude, I've done it in Manchester. Trust me, I've done it in Turkey and Bosnia. Okay, so like the cultural stuff, I understand. But it's something we can get around, and especially in the West. The West is open, man. The West is open. It's absolutely fine to do it in the West. You don't need to be you don't need to be worried about that at all. It's completely normal. The Americans knocking around. Maybe you're worried about just rejection. You're worried about seeing people out. Seeing people you work with, reapproaching girls, all of these things, they're all normal. They're all part of the process. Just realize like it is really just part of the process. Any other worries you might have, maybe you're worried you're past it. That would be, you're past it when you decide you're past it. I've seen guys in their 50s. I mean, this was a real eye-opener for me in my late 30s. Almost guys I in a way look up to, because they're 10, 12 years older than me, and they're going out absolutely crushing it, and they're making massive transformations just in 1 year. And it's just one small step at a time. And these guys, like, when you first see them, you think, it depends on the guy. Sometimes they come in, you're like, this guy's a killer already. But sometimes you think, wow, this is, it's a real fucking granddad here, man, Jesus Christ. And in 1 year, they become like fucking, you know what I mean? They become like a fucking Hollywood movie star. It can all change, man. It can all change. So yeah, cultural things, personal things. Many of your worries are just normal. They're perfectly normal. But just realize the world is your oyster if you have the right skills and the right support. The reason I've got where I've got to in this, and I'm in the situation I am, it's not an achievement everyone would value. There's 40-year-old men who would say, Joseph, why are you doing that? Shouldn't you have a family by now? Shouldn't you have 5 properties by now? Shouldn't you be living in Rotherham in a semi-detached house by now? That's what you should be doing. Shouldn't you be head of a corporation by now? People have different value systems. I am where I want to be right now. I'm where I want to be in my personal, professional, and dating life, and physically. And it's because I've had guidance in all of those areas, and particularly something like cold approach. Oh my God, the noise is insane. what is going on? Particularly something like approach. I honestly just don't think it's doable alone, dude. I don't think it's doable alone. Not to the level that me and my fellow wings and associates have actually taken it to. I don't think there's any natural, quote unquote, natural guys who are on that level, to be honest, in the daytime. I think there's very good natural guys, and you need to learn from those guys as well. I'm a kind of hybrid, some natural, some learn. And yeah, but all the best guys I know, they've all been trained by somebody. They've all had feedback. And now it's got even better because the advanced guys in my group, we actually watch each other. We don't even need to give each other feedback because it's like, we just talk shop after a bunch of approaches. And just from watching each other, we can actually develop our approaches as well. And then a lot of the stuff on the back end as well, like, you know, we trade notes on that one. I think that's probably one of the areas I'm strongest, really. Even within guys who are doing very well in approach. Just being honest, I don't think there's too many with the back end like I've got, to be honest. It sounds really arrogant, but it's cultivated over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dates. Like, lots of things have been refined out. I fucked up so many times, dude. So you can skip the line, and this is what guys find. Like Jay Futrix, which he comes on sometimes. He was out on his immersion with me. He was smashing the daytime, but once he started to get the dates rolling in, the girl would be like, she says I'm here, and I'm like, no. Tell her to do X, Y, Z, and come here. And he's like, really? I'm like, yep. So he does it, she comes, they have a great night. I just know exactly what to say in that scenario. And also having a third party alongside you is really helpful because even myself sometimes, I look back on certain things I do and I'm like, yeah, I could have pushed that further. And if I was coaching myself, I'll say, no, push, further. A lot of the time I will do that now, but back, and then other times you need to back off, just give it a bit of space. So it just kind of depends really. But having a third party who's been through so many experiences, what a weird and wonderful life. I think it's the puzzle of it all that really got to me. I'm just thinking, it's just occurring to me, why bother with all this? Why bother? I could have got married to my first girlfriend I met when I was 15. And I think on some level, I realized like at a young age, I was like, there's a lot of girls who I don't have a fucking clue how I'd pull her, and I do fancy her. And it was like a riddle. And that's not to say all of them would pull me, but it was like a complete riddle of how the fuck does this work? And then I'd see some guys doing really well, and they weren't really any better looking than me, really not better socially. I'm like, you know, so it became a riddle that I wanted to solve. And that's why I've stayed in the quote unquote game. There's been 3 occasions where I've thought about exiting. One at 35, one at 28, one at 37. Been close to the exit, really. All 3 of those girls could have exited with very happily, and people would probably slap me on the back to this day. Nice girls, you know, great full-bodied, proper women, amazing bodies, just amazing girls, good dancers, good cooks, cool girls, good in the bedroom. I mean, Jesus, Jesus, I'm regretting my life choices now, but what more do you want, right? And different reasons things didn't, mostly my travel ship kind of wrecked everything, but anyway. But yeah, the main thing that kept me in the game was the mystery. And maybe that, to be honest, now part of the thing that's like making me more motivated to exit is there's less mystery left. Maybe that's why I want to get the Miss Universe. It's the final boss. I'll let you boys know. So, yeah, I'm Joseph Wingbro. This is my life. Well, it's my life. Walking around a colonial zone in December, Santo Domingo. You want to come and join, you want to join the party, let me know. You want to strategize about your dating life, you want to strategize about how the fuck we get out of the purgatory that you're currently in, just give me a call. Even if we don't end up working together, there's a few guys, I will always give guys tips. I prefer you, don't waste my time unnecessarily. Like if you're fucking 18 and you got 50 quid in your bank account, probably don't give me a call, yeah, because I run other businesses. It's not just Wing Bro, so I don't want to take time out of that. But if you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and you're not sure, you're not sure what your next move is, and you're confused, unsure, brother, I have the map for you, man. I have the map for you. Watch the video of my Asperger's syndrome student who lost his virginity at 37 years old. Yeah. I gave him a map, man. I gave the guy a map. It's he's proved it to everyone, that guy. If he can do it with significant disadvantages and lack of experience, if he can do it within 6 months of training with continuous support, and now he's in a different place, that guy. He's in a completely different place. I'm so proud of that guy's work, man. I'm just so proud of him. Yeah, he's in a completely different place at this point. So that could be you, and if you're probably starting from an easier starting point. So boys, one final tip, don't talk as much to a girl as I talk on these lives, okay? I go full Asperger's mode on these lives, right? Just talking endlessly in massive detail. In your approaches, let the silence do the work. If I could mime on these lives, I would do, but I don't think that would be very effective. So we'll leave things there, boys. Take it easy. Oh, similar to RST. Yeah, I mean the whole. So you're not going to nail a Hollywood actress just through game. So RSD were very inspirational. They were a big company. I see their coaches, some of them are still coaching. My honest opinion, when I've seen them doing daytime approaches, I don't rate them, dude. I don't rate them. Forget about myself. I'm not going to put myself into the mixture. I know 5 guys who would absolutely wreck them if they were to go to do a competition, the Approach Olympics. But they were very good at marketing. You got to realize, like, a lot of these big companies, this is really a content game. This is what I'm starting to realize. But a lot of these big companies, it's not what you think it is, dude. It's not what you think it is. You never actually. There are guys who I know are real out there. Some of them are quite big as well, and I know that they're real. I can just see in the way they talk. Their experiences are the same as mine, and are the same as guys that I know who had a lot of experience. I don't know with RSD, man. And I would actually disagree that just having good game is enough to fuck a Hollywood actress. I would actually strongly disagree with that. You will need to have other things other than game. That's just a fantasy, dude. If you're 20 stone, you got no friends, you go over, you could literally have the best self-image and the pimpest game of all time, and I would be staggered to see you succeed with a Hollywood actress, right? And you could have mediocre game, but if you were in a, realistically, they're probably only going to fuck guys in their social circle. So that's another thing as well. Cold approach, like, it can be effective. It is very effective, but you've also got to realize, I call them echelon girls. It's like certain echelons where, as much as they love, like that Miss Universe, as much as she loved my approach, she's going to get with a male, a guy in her circle. She's just going to. It is what it is. So the social aspect is good. That's why Instagram can also be very powerful. That's what I'm starting to believe. It gives me like a portable social proof. It's not just you're not just one factor with this. Now, a fucking barrio girl or a waitress, and at the end of the day, what the fuck is a Hollywood actress anyway? What the fuck is she anyway? Imagine getting with a Hollywood actress and realizing that Brazilian waitress I banged in an elevator shaft in the engine room in an elevator shaft in Lisbon, she was hotter than the fucking Hollywood actress. A girl's pussy isn't bad just because she works in Hollywood or she's a model. So yeah, maybe I'm getting caught up in all that shit, but they're just more aware of social status and things like that. And you can play that game if you want to play that game. I want to play that game right now as an experiment more than anything else. But just the pure happiness. I'll bang the Barrio girls all day long. The waitress, that's been my wheelhouse for like the last fucking 12 years. I love those girls now. The sex ain't gonna be bad because she's been in Hollywood. Oh, here we go. It's my 72-year-old wingman. Yeah, I'm not trying to shit on your comment, One Outsider, but it's just you gotta be careful. I tried to give the nuance on this channel. I tried to give the full picture. My 72-year-old wingman's coming over. Let's see if we can. Let's get him in the shot. Serio? No, he's in the zone. Let's see if he sees me. I don't know if I want to break his privacy as well, to be honest with you. I'll go and see him in a minute. But yeah, Saturday night, Saturday bingo. I'm fucking exhausted. I did the mall approach shit today. Just done an hour-long live. You're getting to know me more, boys. You're getting to know me. You're getting to see my proof of work. Here I am. Hopefully this shit's useful for you guys. 2026 is coming in. Best of luck to you, all you boys. Let's level up. Let's have fun. Let's not become looks maxing weirdos. Let's learn to have fun as well. You know, that might be your big goal for 2026. Fun is the biggest aphrodisiac, man. Fun and flirty is the biggest aphrodisiac. Take it easy, boys.